Welcome back. India-Canada ties have hit a massive low, with tensions escalating after Canada targeted India's High Commissioner and other diplomats with false allegations on the killing of Khalistani Nijjar. India swiftly ordered the expulsion of 6 Canadian diplomats on Monday. I'm right now being joined by former Union Minister and Congress MP Manish Tewari, who lost his father to extremism. Thank you very much, sir. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us at a time when relations between India and Canada have nosedived. You are one of those who have also borne the brunt of this extremism. How do you look at what's unfolding?
Well, first and foremost, India and Canada have a relationship which goes back to the last decade of the 19th century. So it's almost a 130, 140-year-old relationship. There are a large number of people from India, and especially from the part of the world that I come from, the northwestern part of India, especially Punjab, who have settled there over a period of time and have done tremendously well. There are cities in Canada where even the road signs are in Punjab. Unfortunately, there is a fringe which has historically exploited the hospitality of Canada to launch these anti-India tirades and also ferment radical/terrorist activities from the soil of Canada. This is not something which started today. This goes back to the late 70s or the early 80s. And unfortunately, successive governments in Canada have not really, for reasons best known to them, been sensitive about India's concerns. That we are a peace-loving country. We respect the territorial integrity and sovereignty of nations around the world. We are perhaps the only country which has never, in a hostile manner, transgressed into the space of any other country, except if at all there were atrocities on a huge scale being committed. So under those circumstances, the sensitivity which should have been there from Canada with regard to India's concerns has unfortunately never manifested itself.
All right. Mr. Manish Tewari, how do you see this going forward? What's the way out? How should India be really looking at this?
Well, first of all, I do not think that there is any problem between the people of India and the people of Canada. The problem specifically is with the Trudeau administration and the trajectory which it unfortunately has had over the past 9 years that it has been in power. Mr. Trudeau, for reasons best known to him, wants to pander to a radical fringe, which, as I earlier said, is in a minuscule minority in Canada also. So therefore, under those circumstances, I do not think Mr. Trudeau is either helping his cause, and especially not the cause of Indo-Canadian relations, by going down that street. Well, a large number of motives have been ascribed to why Mr. Trudeau is doing this. First and foremost, being the electoral motive. But if somebody understands the social ethos of Canada, understands the milieu of the Indian community, you would find that there are not many takers for this radical brand of politics, even in Canada. So therefore, it is inexplicable as to why the Trudeau administration has continued to behave in this manner. And now we have this unfortunate escalation where they have very erroneously and obviously with certain intent targeted some of the Indian diplomats who are posted in Canada. Now, this is absolutely unprecedented. If you are going to escalate things in such a manner, obviously there are going to be implications and there are going to be consequences. As mature nations, you need to dial back, or at least Canada needs to dial back on what it has been doing, and try and understand that there is a wider, broader, deeper relationship between India and Canada, not only in terms of a convergence of shared interests, but more importantly, of a diaspora, which has been contributing hugely to Canadian society and Canadian economy, which is not really very enthused by this extremely provocative and belligerent stand which Prime Minister Trudeau and his government have taken.
Manish Tewari, you very rightly said between all of this are innocent people, civilians who are really living there, doing what they need to do. You, of course, represent a significant diaspora in the sense that you belong to Punjab. A lot of people from Punjab have gone in and settled in Canada. What do you say to the experts who are saying all of this is part of political compulsions, he's playing to the gallery, so on and so forth?
Well, the little that I understand Canada or Canadian politics or the milieu of Canada, its social ethos, and especially the diaspora which lives there, I don't think, as I said earlier, there are many takers for a very radical brand of politics. For the simple reason, any immigrant community actually wants to live peacefully. It wants to prosper. It wants its coming generations to get absorbed in the ethos of that country. It really does not want to stand out like a sore thumb. And one knows of hundreds of people, even friends who've gone and settled there over a long period of time, who are absolutely embedded in Canadian society, who are extremely peaceful, who go about their business without really making a song and dance of it. So that's why I'm saying that for the broad Indo-Canadian diaspora, this is extremely unhelpful. And so I don't know as to whose cause Prime Minister Trudeau or his government seems to be helping, because going by what one hears, is his stance is not even going down well with the people he thinks that it is going down well with.
All right, Mr. Manish Tewari, as being part of the opposition in India, what would you expect of the Modi government? What do you expect of them at this point?
Well, I think that's been articulated by every opposition party, that obviously in a democracy, it is important for the government to take the opposition into confidence. We have an unprecedented situation, and I must say that would be the understatement of the year to really say that. So under those circumstances, given what is playing itself out in Canada and the United States of America, there is a need for the government to keep the opposition in the loop, primarily because through those years when radicalism, extremism, and terrorism were at its peak, there were governments in India led by the Indian National Congress, which had actually fought it frontally. So therefore, there is a breadth of experience and a breadth of wisdom, I may say, and an institutional repository within the ranks of the opposition of people who have dealt with this situation, people who have lived through this situation, people who understand the region, people who understand the diaspora also. And so therefore, the government would actually be well served by taking the opposition on board, because on certain things, especially when it comes to the sovereignty, territorial integrity, uh, respect of the nation. There is no opposition on the government. At the end of the day, we are all Indians. And so, therefore, we must act in unison and try and find a modus vivendi to resolve this extremely unfortunate situation, which I, as I earlier said, is not even helping Mr. Trudeau's own cause. And so, therefore, one is uh, quite taken aback to understand, or is it's fairly preponderant to be not able to understand as to why, over a period of time, has especially the Trudeau administration and some of the previous governments taken a course which has displayed an insensitivity of Indian concerns.
Manish Tewari, on a very personal note, you lost your father to extremism. You, your family are literally survivors of that wound. Just want to ask you, is there a way out to heal? You know, we are hearing, we are also talking at this point as there was a political leader who was shot dead in Mumbai itself. To acts of terror, to acts of extremism, do you see a healing? Do you see a closure?
I think Punjab went through a very turbulent phase between 1980 and 1995. There was a lot of blood which got spilled. A large number of unfortunate incidents took place. If I were to say that it was the resilience of the Punjabi ethos and spirit that after having survived the ravages of partition, where more than 2 million people were killed between Delhi and Peshawar between the April and September of 1947, and more than 20 million people were internally displaced. The Punjabis were able to pick up and make a life of their own between 1947 and 1977, when things in Punjab started getting out of control. And I may say that Punjab has actually put that dark phase of 15 years behind itself. Punjab has moved on. Unfortunately, some people who live outside are still caught in a time wrap.
Right. Manish Tewari, thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us.